Hi everyone, welcome to Aussizz Conclave session 4.0. We hope that you are excited to know about engineering occupations, its courses and PR pathways. Now let's meet the experts who will be guiding you through this journey. Nandita is a senior professional with a wealth of experience in the international education sector. Next is Jagjeevan Saini, a registered migration agent at Aussizz Group. Next is our registered migration agent Smit Patel. Double duty for Smit Patel. He serves both as a registered migration agent and director of Macquarie Park branch at NSW for Aussizz Group. Next, we have with us Safa. Safa embodies a commitment to excellence in facilitating seamless immigration journeys to Australia. Thank you. And now over to our presenter, Nandita.
Hello, everyone. So as you know, the current topic now is the engineering occupations in Australia. So to give you a brief, Australia provides a vibrant and rewarding environment for engineers, offering abundant opportunities for professional growth and development. The country's strong commitment to innovation and sustainability enhances its appeal as a destination for skilled engineers and seeking new challenges and experiences. So whether you're interested in cutting-edge research, sustainable technologies, or diverse engineering projects, Australia provides a fertile ground for expanding your career horizons. I really hope you consider Australia as your next career destination. And let's move on to the next. So engineering encompasses a wide range of disciplines. So today we will focus only on a few key specializations such as civil engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, mining, and software engineering. Engineering education in Australia offers a comprehensive undergraduate and postgraduate options. So at the undergraduate level, students pursue a Bachelor of Engineering honours degree spanning 4 years with majors available in disciplines again such as civil, mechanical, mining, electrical, software, and many more. And postgraduates can offer a Master of Professional Engineering, typically completed in a 2 years duration, allowing for specializations again in their chosen field. And both programs require an IELTS score of 6.5 overall with no band less than 6 or equivalent English language proficiency. So to ensure students are well prepared for their academic and professional success in engineering. With the academic entry requirement for undergraduate studies, it's an Australian Year 12 or equivalent, but there can be certain prerequisite units such as English, mathematics, and physics, depending on the specialization again. And for the postgraduate studies, you will need a 4-year bachelor's degree or equivalent in a relevant engineering discipline. And there can be a GPA requirements to be eligible into the course. So usually it is between 4.5 to 5 GPA requirement, depending on the universities. And so there are several university options, including but not limited to, like you can see, University of Newcastle, La Trobe, Southern Cross University, Curtin University, University of the Sunshine Coast, Swinburne, Macquarie, QUT, University of Canberra, Charles Darwin University, University of Wollongong, 𝐜𝐴𝐧𝐿𝐴 University, and many more. So many universities in Australia offer both undergraduate and postgraduate studies in engineering sector. So the annual tuition fees for an undergraduate program is between 25,000 per year up to 45,000 per year, again, depending on the university. And for masters, it varies between 35,000 per year to 54,000 per year, depending on the specialization and the provider. So now the exciting part is the scholarship information. So many universities at the moment in Australia are offering international student scholarships. So some I have listed, I can't list all of them. So if you need to know more, please get in touch with us. So some here are, so University of Newcastle, they offer a STEM scholarship, which is between 4,000 to 12,000 annual scholarship value, and this one is a nationality based scholarship. So majority of the nationalities are already included, only a few are not. So many of them usually get this scholarship. And Southern Cross University, they offer an academic excellence scholarship, which is between $8,000 to $15,000. And Charles Darwin University, they have a global merit scholarship, so which is up to 30% tuition fees reduction. University of Sunshine Coast is currently offering the 15% for the entire duration of the studies, 15% scholarship for the entire duration of the studies. And University of Canberra is a 10% international merit scholarship. Again, it's for high achievers scholarship. It is between 20% to 25%, and there is a GPA requirement. You need to have between 5 to 6 GPA on a scale of 7 to be eligible. And University of Wollongong, they have an excellence University Excellence Scholarship, which is about 30% tuition fee waiver at the moment. Again, depending on this specialization of the engineering course you study or whether you've done it from overseas. So the skills assessment body varies. It can be Engineers Australia, VETSS, TRA, and ACS usually is for the software engineering specialization. So under the vocational sector, the popular engineering courses include the Advanced Diploma of Engineering Technology, which is in electrical, and the Advanced Diploma of Civil Construction Design. So these courses typically span 2 years when studied full-time, with an accelerated option available for temporary visa holders like those on a 485 visa. So reducing the duration to approximately 1 year. The IELTS requirement is comparatively less for both courses, and it's an overall score of 5.5 or equivalent. And the tuition fees for advanced diploma in electrical range between 29,000 to 34,000 for the entire course duration. However, there are only a few providers in Australia at the moment who are currently offering this course. And in contrast, the Advanced Diploma of Civil Construction Design is more widely available, with the tuition fees ranging from about 19,000 to about 24,000 for the entire course duration. So depending on your location, you are more likely to find the Advanced Diploma in Civil options, because there are so many providers in Australia at the moment. So if you're wondering what to do after engineering, so there are a few course options here. So what's the next step after completing a Bachelor of Engineering honours degree, whether obtained overseas or in Australia? So there are the two options here. There can be many more, but I've listed the two here. So the Master of Engineering Management, MEM, and the Master of Project Management, MPM. The MEM program is tailored for practicing engineers aiming to acquire specialized skills and advanced engineering knowledge essential for leadership and management roles across diverse engineering fields. So potential career paths include roles in infrastructure management, logistics analysis, manufacturing management, and operations management. And on the other hand, the MPM program focuses on equipping professionals with the expertise to manage projects, project teams, and stakeholders within professional organizations. So the career opportunities from MPM include business analysis, portfolio leadership, project management, program management, and project liaison officer, and many more, and also the team leadership. So both programs typically span 1 to 2 years, and they offer RPL, depending on your previous education, previous work experience, if you have any, and you need an IELTS score of, again, 6.5 or equivalent to get into the program. And the tuition fees ranges, again, from 24,000 to about 35,000 per year, and the universities, many of them offer scholarships as well. So a relevant engineering background is necessary for admission for both of these courses usually. So we see a little bit more in-depth information about civil engineering. So civil engineering plays a pivotal role in shaping Australia's infrastructure and urban landscapes. So civil engineers usually design, construct, and maintain essential structures such as buildings, roads, bridges, and dams, so ensuring compliance and with safety and environmental regulations. So the key skills include problem solving, analytical thinking, project management, and effective communication. So typically requiring a bachelor's degree in civil engineering, specialization through advanced degrees as well, to enhance career prospects in areas like geotechnical or structural engineering and so on. So some responsibilities here I've listed include analyzing data, estimating costs, supervising constructions, and resolving design issues. And the salaries for civil engineers in Australia can range from starting from $95,000 to about 150 annually. So which is quite a good range, even to start with. And so Australia, depending on the infrastructure projects and urban development, this is the salary that is included. And in conclusion, so civil engineering offers dynamic and rewarding career path, crucial to sustainable growth and societal well-being in Australia. So as of now, you can see the job opportunities are quite there are a lot of jobs available, and there was a 30.4% growth compared to last year. So more on mechanical engineering, it's a vital field in Australia at the moment, driving innovation and technological advancements across industries. So mechanical engineers design, develop, and maintain mechanical systems in sectors like automotive, aerospace, and manufacturing, ensuring efficiency and reliability as well. So key skills for a mechanical engineer includes problem solving, proficiency in the CAD software, which is very important, and also knowledge on materials and manufacturing processes. So typically requiring a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. So advanced degrees and certificates, again, can specialize expertise in areas such as robotics and thermal systems as well. And job duties include concept design, prototype testing, and optimizing the product performance. And mechanical engineering offers a dynamic career path, as you can see. So there are about 3,700 odd jobs available. The salary range is, again, 110,000 to start with. And there was a good 3.1% job growth compared to last year. So the electrical engineering drives technology advancements mainly and innovation across power systems, electronics, and telecommunications, which is crucial for modern infrastructure development in Australia. And electrical engineers design, develop, and test electrical systems and equipment, ensuring safety, reliability, and efficiency. And the key skills include circuit design, which is again very important for electrical, knowledge of electrical codes, proficiency in CAD software, and also the strong problem-solving abilities. So typically requiring a bachelor's degree, again, further specialization certificates always enhance career prospects in areas such as power systems and control engineering as well. And job duties include, but not limited to, designing circuits, conducting tasks, overseeing installations, and ensuring compliance with safety regulations. And electrical engineering have currently on SEEK, you can see about 3,000 odd jobs, and the salary range, again, starting from about 95 to 120 on a medium, and there was a good 9.5% job growth compared to last year. And mining engineering, it's always a boom. It's pivotal in Australia's mineral extraction and processing industries, emphasizing on sustainable resource management and environmental stewardship. So mining engineers oversees operations, design, extraction methods, and ensure efficient resource management while prioritizing safety. And the key skills include geology knowledge, mainly, and proficiency in mine planning, software, and strong project management abilities, and also adherence to the environmental regulations. And typically, you need a bachelor's degree to be employed in these roles, and also, again, added on certificates and proficiencies will include, better job prospects as well. And the job duties include surveying the land, evaluating mineral deposits, and implementing environmental rehabilitation strategies. So the salaries for mining engineers range from starting from $80,000 to about $150,000 annually, with the steady demand driven by commodity prices and industry investments and so on. And mining engineers offer, in conclusion, challenging yet rewarding career opportunities and contributing to the sustainable resource development and technological innovations in Australia in the mining sector. So last but not the least is the software engineering in Australia. It drives technological innovation across various industries in Australia. focusing on developing efficient and scalable software solutions. So engineers design, develop, and test applications to meet the user requirements and business objectives, relying on programming languages, problem-solving skills, and knowledge of the development methodologies. So you need a bachelor's degree. There is some universities still offer a 4-year degree for software engineering, whereas some can include a 3-year duration as well, mainly for software engineering. And so typically you need a bachelor's degree in computer science or related fields, and continuous learning and certifications in areas like cybersecurity or cloud computing enhance their career prospects. And responsibilities include like coding, debugging, and maintaining software systems, ensuring quality and providing technical support. And median salaries in Australia range from about 70,000 to 140 annually, and with strong job prospects fueled by increasing demand for technological advancements. So key job market trends in 2024, Australia's commercial, construction, civil infrastructure, and engineering sectors are poised for a dynamic growth. The government's commitment to a $120 billion infrastructure pipeline is pivotal, ensuring stability and expansion in these industries, as we discussed. So the construction sector saw a significant, as you can see, 12.4% growth, creating about 140,000 odd jobs, new jobs last year, with expectations of nearly 6% growth by 2026, we are hoping. So civil engineering is set to grow by 13.4%, supported by substantial investments in transport, renewable energy, and defense infrastructure as well. And the wage growth in construction has surged with a 4.3% increase this year, and SEEK website actually reporting a 4.6% rise in advertised salaries. So looking ahead, Mercer forecasts a 5.5% pay rise for construction and engineering roles in 2024, highlighting a robust demand for and favorable conditions for professionals in these fields. So that's it from me. And now the exciting part of the migration. So I will hand over to my colleague Smit Patel to start off with the migration.
All righty. So thank you so much, Nandita, for such an informative session about the course requirement and how our audience can find the relevant job and what are the actual requirement, because these days they are not actually aware of where to find the job and everything. So thank you for that. So let's start with that. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Aussizz Conclave. Now, I'm thrilled to be here today discussing the exciting opportunities for engineers seeking permanent residency in Australia. Now, engineers do, one of my favorite occupation is engineers. The reason being is that engineers are not aware that they would be able to get their skills assessment from their own, bachelor's degree, which they have done back in the country. That's an amazing thing to get from, to get it done based on your bachelor's degree. Now, to start with, like Australia has a booming engineering sectors, constantly seeking skilled professionals, and this creates a fantastic pathways for engineers to build a successful career down under. Now, today, what we'll do is we'll delve into the diverse engineering occupation which is in demand, explore specific requirements for PR across different Australian states. Now, to get this done, we'll start by looking at some of the hottest engineering field in Australia right now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, guys, with this presentation, and I'll be discussing the beautiful pathways for engineers to go for. Amazing. Now, with the engineering occupation, it comes with the 4 categories mainly. So now there is professional engineer, engineering managers, engineering technologists, and engineering associate. With professional engineers, we all are aware, if you are a civil engineer, mechanical engineer, telecommunication engineer, those all can. So and with the engineering professionals, those are the professional engineers that we know that those are called as a professional engineer. Now, with the engineering managers, as you all aware, with the name itself, it says the managerial. That means the engineers who are above their skill level, they have good amount of work experience working under their CEO, CFO, or have a high level of designation, that is engineering managers and engineering technologists, a level down from the professional engineers, would that be called as an engineering professional. Now, these are the pretty much four categories that engineer gets defined into. Now, primarily, if we are targeting the primary occupations, those are civil and construction engineers, geology, mining engineers, which Nandita had just spoke about, then software engineers, mechanical, industrial process engineers. Now, these all engineers have an advantage of getting their skills assessment done. Now, what is skills assessment? Skills assessment is basically an assessment based on your qualification or with your experience. Now, not many occupation can get their skill assessment done based on the qualification only. Only few of them are there, and one of them is engineers. So now we'll be discussing how you can get your skills assessment done. Now, in Australia, the engineers' occupations are well known. They are very diverse. The requirements and the demand in Australia is extremely high. Now, why is that so? Because you must be hearing that there is a lot of investment coming in few states. For example, Brisbane from Queensland, they are investing a lot on civil infrastructure. Now, for those, they would require a civil engineer, infrastructure engineer to actually make sure that everything goes well with the plan of the development. And that's when civil or construction engineers come into place. These all kind of engineers are so well known required in Australia that they do have a place to give you permanent residency. However, Australia is mainly looking for a skilled migrants. So with the new current program, as you all are aware, that what Australia is looking for is a skilled migrant. So if you are working in your field, there would be a possible pathway, not with the 1891 9491, then you can go for 482 186 as well. That is employer sponsored. Also, they are coming up with the new visa, skill in demand, that if you are working and you have a good amount of salary, which they have specified, then you can also target to go in skills and demand if you don't want to go with the employer sponsorship pathways. Now, one of the skills assessing authority that it comes to our mind is Engineers Australia. That is a primary assessing authority that would actually assess the engineer's occupation. Now, not that only, we have few others. For example, IML, they do it for engineering managers. Then ACS, they do it for software engineers, then developer programmer who have done their engineering qualification under IT or something like that. Then we have VETASYS, who does for civil engineering draft person, those civil engineering technician. These all are assessing authorities, does assessment for engineers. However, the primary assessing authority that comes to our mind is Engineers Australia. Now, about Engineers Australia is skill assessment for migration. You can do professional development support, they do provide. Then there is a networking opportunities with their events and education accreditation there is there. So there are many universities out of Australia. They are actually accredited by Washington Accord, you might have heard. And so, and if your universities was Washington Accord accredited, then you do not even require CDR to get the skills assessment. Now let's go deep into the skills assessment requirement and what are the streams that you can actually apply into. First of all, we'll target this English language requirement. The English language requirement to get your skills assessment done is each 6. Now there are some exemption if you have completed Australian undergraduate engineering qualification, that is in 2 years of master's degree, 92 weeks of full-time qualification, or PhD at an Australian university, then you will not require English language, correct? You will not need to meet the English language requirement, that is PT, IELTS, TOEFL, or the further requirements. Now, also, if you are a citizen or have a valid passport from UK, USA, or Canada, or like UK, USA, Canada, or New Zealand, or Republic of Ireland, then also you are exempted from English language test. That's an amazing. So pretty much if you have completed your qualification from here, then it's good to go without English language requirement. That's amazing. Now, what are the pathways for the assessment? So multiple pathways Engineers Australia provide. That is Australian qualification, Washington Accord, Sydney Accord, Dublin Accord, or other recognized qualification. Then if your qualification or universities were not accredited, then you have a CDR pathway. Now, for Australian qualification, there is a list of universities and the courses which are actually accredited by Australian qualification. And if you have studied from there, then you can apply for skill assessment directly. Then there is a Washington Accord, same like that. They have an entire new website. So basically you can go and check whether your offshore university was actually accredited. They do provide on the if what intake were you in, as if you are falling under that category, then you can actually get skill assessment based on your qualification only. You actually do not require any CDR report. Now, for example, if your university is not falling under any of this accord or even Australian qualification, then you have a chance to get your skills assessment done based on CDR. Now, you do not need employment to get the skills assessment done for engineers. Now, on the basis of CDR, many clients do have the question that what is actually a CDR? So CDR is a pathway program where you might have done project during your bachelor's degree or your master's degree. Now, during your bachelor's degree or even your internship or during your employment, if you have done a project, you need to submit that project and write down an actual 3 CDR report based on each project. You have to write down in a way that you have performed those project in a way, and what kind of difficulties did you face? What was the project about? What calculation you actually made? And you have to provide the right calculation in the project as well, and a right conclusion. With that, you need to provide one summary statement and one CPD. Now, CPD is all about your career professional development, that after your qualification, what kind of employment or internship or any other things which you have done that to improve your skills during this entire period after your qualification. And summary statement is like an index of the book that you will be putting down what information you have mentioned in which CDR. So it's kind of 5 things you have to provide to Engineers Australia, and pretty much they would be able to do the assessment for you. Now, as I've just explained, with the resume, of course, you have to provide your resume which match with the CPD. Then there comes the relevant skill employment assessment. Now, many of the Australian state requires employment assessment to be done in order to get a nomination. Now, they do provide this service. You can get your employment assessment done. Even if you are self-employed, you can get it done. If you are employed on TFN basis, you can get your employment assessment done. Pretty much you need a reference letter mentioning your primary duties as an engineer and along with the payment evidence. That's all you require to get an employment assessment. Now, going forward. Now, before moving forward, now I'll explain you just a sec. Yep. Apart from Engineers Australia, there are, like I said, VET-Aussizz and IML. Now, Safa, if you want to just brief out VET-Aussizz requirement as well.
Yeah, Smith, I've seen that many clients usually come to us and ask whether the skill assessment is mandatory or not, especially when it comes to the employment assessment. So what do you think, how we can guide the clients that where it is necessary and how they can judge about this thing?
See, usually with the state requirement, they usually put on their website, for example, NSW, they have already mentioned on the website that you need, if you are claiming your employment in your UI, then skills, employment assessment be required. Now, good thing about Safa to get a skill employment assessment is that you get a clarity that you are actually working in your own field. So you, with your own free mind, you can actually claim points in your UI without worrying about what's gonna be the future look like, because after getting invite, once you lodge visa, it is out of your hand. You cannot control after that. It's all about the case officer assessing everything. So it's always good to get your employment assessment. However, it's all goes with the state by state requirement. So when a client comes to us, we actually assess the case. Website requirement. Also, it has been a long time that we have been working with the cases, and we know that which state actually requires the skill employment assessment. So based on that, but NSW is more fussy on the employment assessment. So we usually recommend with the NSW that, okay, please get it done for it. So, so it will be better to claim points in your EOR.
And because we have seen these days, many clients, they try to do their skill assessments on their own as well. So what would be the best tip would you give to them? Like what could be the best thing they can do or something which they can avoid in order to avoid a refusal for the skill assessment? Let's say if it's a CDR process, which is most of the clients they actually do. So what do you think?
That's a great question, Safa. Thank you for asking. Now, yes, I've seen a lot of clients doing the skills assessment by themselves. The only problem or the primary problem I would say that they face is the plagiarism. Now with the plagiarism, if you get a plagiarism in Engineers Australia, you get 1 year of ban. Now that's crazy because it's a one-time opportunity, you have to get your skills assessment. And right now because earlier you were getting 5 years of TR, you hadn't time. Okay, then after 1 year, you can still get your skill assessment done. But now they are coming back to 2 years of TR. After your qualification, if you have 2 years of time frame to wait for your PR, and if you are getting plagiarism on your CDR, that's the worst thing that you can do, because the reason being after 1 year, you will apply for skill assessment, you will be left with 10, 11 months, correct? So I would definitely recommend if you are going to get your skills assessment by yourself, make sure you check plagiarism report, get yourself clarity that whatever you are writing is not being copy pasted from somewhere else. It's your own work. You cannot copy paste from any website or even previously used work. So while you are doing the assessment, make sure of that. Also with the employment, make sure that your duties are actually aligned with your occupation and not just doing random duties you're putting in the reference letter. Now let's get going with yes, Safa. So I wanted you to ask if you can just elaborate the VET-Assist and IML requirement for normal, what's the brief requirement for engineers, for example, civil engineering draft person, like that?
Yeah, so the reason why Engineers Australia is preferred as a primary, skill assessment authority is basically you can still get a positive skill assessment even though without an experience. So that is the best part of an Engineers Australia skill assessment. However, when you see, the authorities like VET-Assist or IML, they usually ask for experiences, like post-study experiences are needed, whether it's full-time, part-time, and IML needs usually 3 to 5 years of experience. So in case if you are going ahead with certain occupations, the way Smith has previously mentioned, like engineering managers or something like a construction project managers, and you have a relevant work experience, only go ahead and then choose that particular, skill assessment authorities. Moreover, the department has approved a list of skill assessment authorities for certain occupations as well. So you need to be a bit mindful about that list as well, that you're choosing a correct skill assessment authority so that you can use it towards your general skill migration or through, for any other visas and everything. So basically, this would be the general difference. Obviously, there are other guidelines which are different to VET-Assist. The guidelines are different for IML. For example, the fee payment, you see the processing time, the documentations requirement. There are so many other differences as well. So because we are sticking to the Engineers Australia, we would rather emphasize a lot on this particular skill assessment authority. But obviously, you can always get yourself, skill assessments checked with a migration agent before you proceed, which is the best suited skill assessment authority and occupation for you.
Great, Safa. Thank you for that. Now, before we move on to the state requirement, I also want to tell everyone that many of our clients are not aware that if they have done a professional engineers, for example, if they have done bachelor's of mechanical engineer, they have mechanical engineering skills assessment, they can use the same CDR for their engineering technologies. Now, that's the beauty of Engineers Australia, that you can get 2 assessments with the same project. Yes, you have to do minor changes for engineering technologists, but that's the beauty of Engineers Australia, and you can get 2 assessments. Now, many people have another question, that why do we get 2 skills assessment if we are eligible for only 1? The reason being that you get 2 skill assessment, that you are not sure whether the mechanical engineer or civil engineer or engineering technologist will be invited all together at the same time. That's why it is amazing to have 2 or more occupations in hand, so that actually lodge more than 1 EOI with all the particular occupation. Now it all goes with the state by state requirement, whether how the state policy is it. Now, that we can discuss further in detail after this. But yes, it's always good to have more than 2 occupations. Let's move on to further state requirement. NSW, that's pretty much the one of the big state that people are waiting to hear from. Now this year, almost the quota is almost full. We are still waiting if any hoping that if any invitation round comes into effect before 1st of July. But yes, let's finger cross. But as of last year, the requirements were pretty simple. For onshore, it's 6 months of minimum stay requirement, or in NSW, or you have to live outside of Australia for minimum of 6 months to be eligible for NSW. Now, that's a pretty much simple requirement for 190. However, for 491, there are 2 pathways you can actually take into consideration: pathway 1 and pathway 2. Now, with pathway 1, you need to work in regional area and live in regional area, and also need to work with the same employer for 6 months. Now, with this, the T-Smith salary level has been increased. So it used to be 70,000. Now it has been 73,150. And it can be considered on pro rata basis. So if you are working for part-time, then it's fine. But your salary on pro rata basis has to go above 73,150. Now with pathway 1, compared to pathway 2, pathway 1 has less competition because not everyone are actually working in regional area. So if anyone who is residing in NSW and would like to target 491, then you can target pathway 1 by working with the same employer and make sure you meet the salary requirement. If you do not meet, then you won't qualify for pathway 1. With pathway 2, it's very simple. Just like 190, you apply for EOI and wait for the invite. Now, understand, guys, that if you have just applied for pathway 2, then there is lakhs of competition right there, because everyone who are residing in NSW would be eligible for pathway 2. So if you want to lower down or cut off your competition, then pathway 1 would be the best possible pathway that you can target to. So, and as of now, with the invitation round, NSW was they did not target to give engineers a lot of invitation last year, but we are hoping that this upcoming financial year would be amazing for engineers. So let's hope that they do target to provide invitation for engineers. Let's move on to other state. That is Victoria. Now, Safa, if you can just highlight your point of view on Victoria's skill nominated visa.
Thank you, Smith. Now, unfortunately, the Victoria state has closed on 23rd of April. So whatever the requirements I'm going to discuss it was for this financial year. So maybe when the state opens, the requirements may change. So basically, Victoria is focusing on subclass 190 and 491. And there is not much differences between both the pathways, but the basic differences include, if let's say a client wants to go for a subclass 491, the applicant has to stay in a regional Victoria, and they are supposed to work in a skilled employment from skill levels 1, 2, 3. For example, if you have a civil engineering occupation, like, so you need to work in your relevant occupation, or you can also work in a skill level 1, 2, 3. So it's not mandatory that it has to be always relevant. Similarly, if you see the 190 subclass, you can stay anywhere in Victoria. You can work in a skill level 1, 2, 3, or even if you are unemployed, the Victoria state can also consider you in that situation as well. But obviously, if you realistically see the statistics, how the Victoria state domination has been through the last financial year, this financial year, I mean, so they have not invited a lot of applicants who were not employed. So if you see the Victoria state, they have given certain criteria which they would be definitely considering while they pick up the candidates. For example, they look at your annual earnings. How much are you earning? Like, what's your occupation is, whether are you claiming any points regarding your superior English or your skilled partner. So these are all the internal criteria Victoria state will be considering when they give you an invitation. So any person who is staying in Victoria and they are targeting the Victoria state nomination, I would prefer that they should be working in a skill level 1, 2, 3, and they should be in a position to claim their annual earnings to prioritize, or to get more chances of getting an invitation from Victoria state. And one of the key thing which I've seen most of the candidates, they have a question is like, let's say I'm in Victoria, I'm residing in Victoria, I'm working as well, but my employer is based in, let's say, NSW or Western Australia, in other states. states. So whether my nomination would be approved or not. So Victoria State has clearly said that you should not only reside in Victoria to be considered, but also your employer has to be physically located in Victoria. So if they have a branch in Victoria, then yes, the state nomination will be approved. But let's say you're working remotely, you do not have a physical branch, then the possibility is that your state nomination would be refused. So be very careful when you're applying for a Victoria State, and all the best. Well, we'll see how the next financial year would be. So going ahead with the next state.
Yes. Before we move on to next state, Safa, can you just quickly, because yes, it of course it's we have done so one hour, but now if you can quickly run through what if I'm doing work from home from any place in Victoria only, and my employer is also registered in Victoria, will that be applicable?
Yeah, that would be fine. But as I said, the physical location should also be there.
Okay,
It's very clearly mentioned that it's not the ABN registration. Let's say the employer has an address which they have put from Victoria, but they are not being physically located, then it will lead to a refusal.
Okay. And how do you with the recent invitation rounds and everything, are you looking at that they are actually prioritizing healthcare, or what occupations are they actually prioritizing?
In the trend actually was like initially they were actually giving a lot of priority to critical occupation, but recently we have seen there was mixed results. We had accountants, they were struggling a lot. So we had accountants, we have engineering occupation, from IT sector, from teachers. So it was like a mixed result. So there was not much priority given to certain occupation. But yes, if you see the statistics, all of them had an annual salary, means everyone was working. So technically, if you're working in Victoria, you will have an importance.
And how if someone has to identify that this salary is the threshold, or this is a good salary, how do you identify, okay, yes, this would be a very good salary? Is it a T-Smith salary you consider? How do you analyze?
So it's a very good thing when it comes to Victoria State that they have never mentioned a threshold salary. You can be working even on a casual basis, let's say just 4 hours a week, and still you would be able to include your annual salary. So they are not going to judge you by whether it's a casual, part-time, full-time job. But yes, as long as you're meeting the basic requirements and meeting the internal criteria, there is a high chances you would be invited by the state.
That's great. Thanks for that. Now coming on to the next state, it's just a sec. Coming on to the next state, it's a Queensland, guys. Now, quickly running through the Queensland. Queensland is has closed for financial year 23-24. They will be opening soon with the new requirements. However, the Queensland, we have all seen that Queensland have been consistent with their own requirements that you need to be at 75 points or higher. But if you have trade occupations, then you can be at 70 points. And for 491-865 or higher, your occupation, there is no particular occupation list. Entire occupation list is the occupation list for Queensland. That's an amazing. With the English requirement, you need to have at least competent or higher. That is anyway EOI's requirement. So you just need to meet that. With the work experience requirement 190, where you need to, you should have been working in Queensland and undertaking full-time post-qualification employment. That is minimum 30 hours per week in your nominated occupation for 3 months immediately before you lodge an EOI. So pretty much you need to first work for 3 months and then you can lodge your EOI. Same goes for 491. However, you have to leave and be working in regional Queensland to be eligible for that. Okay. Now, evidence, you need to show the evidence that there will be further 12 months of employment. If you get invited, then you will still be working for further 12 months. So you need to show the contract or something. Again, with the 491, you need to show that you will be working for further 6 months in regional Queensland. And finally, what's the main Queensland always target? That you need to give a commitment to Queensland that after getting your 190 or 491 desired path visa, you would commit to live and be working in Queensland for 2 years from the date of visa grant. And again, with the 491, you will be committed to live and be working in regional Queensland for 3 years from the date of visa grant. Now, there are multiple streams. If there are skilled workers who are living in Queensland, the different requirement for graduates of Queensland, it's almost same if you have completed your qualification from Queensland, that you will fall under this. The requirement, you should have completed 100% of studies in Queensland, and it has to be within last 2 years. Now you get eligible for 190 and 491. Now coming on to Queensland, another stream. The good thing about Queensland, they do provide a small business owner stream as well. So if any of our future entrepreneur would like to open up their own business or purchase their own business, then they do provide these two pathways for small business owners. But the requirement are pretty simple, that the business purchase must have been operating from minimum of 2 years in its current location immediately prior to the purchase. Now, price of the purchase has to be minimum 100,000. The operation of business, you need to provide evidence that you have been operating the business for minimum of 6 months after the settlement, and provide evidence that you need to hire someone, Australian resident or Australian citizen, for at least 20 hours per week, or 2 employees working 10 hours per week. With this startup, you need to show that you have been running the startup from 2 years with a turnover of 200,000 in the 12 months prior to the application made. Now, this is an amazing stream, to be honest, guys, because many of our clients wants to open up their own business, but they are unable to do so in many of the other states. But of course, Queensland is one of the states where they do provide small business owner opportunity in regional Queensland, by the way. Now, coming on to ACT, Safa, please provide your insights on the ACT.
Thank you so much for the overview for the Queensland. But well, Smith, when it comes to the PhD graduates, I believe ACT is one of the best states to consider. So any people who are willing to go ahead with their PhD study or doctoral study, then do consider ACT, I would say, because they offer a PhD streamlined nomination application. So under this particular pathway, let's say you are a PhD graduate from an ACT university, you will be given a lot of priority. Your ACT matrix would be approved in 7 days, which is quite a short period, and a nomination can be submitted within 14 days, and they would be approving it as well. So the other thing is that comparative to 190 and 491, your occupation need not to be on the ACT skilled occupation list, which again, it's an added point when it comes to streamlined pathway. Apart from that, the residency is also just 12 months. So if you see, it's a very basic requirements which ACT has for PhD graduate. So any person who would consider ACT will not be disappointed by the state. So apart from that, if you see, let's say for example, if you have completed your graduation from the ACT university, and unfortunately for any reason you have not applied or have not been invited, and if you have left the country or you have been interstate, so even if you have completed that graduation within 2 years, you would still be able to apply under this pathway. So it's not like you're disappointed at this point. So if you have done it within 2 years, do go ahead and apply for the PhD streamlined nomination application. The other best thing when it comes to ACT is that this particular state is still open because they consistently do rounds. So it's not like they exhaust the quota, they usually close down and in the mid of the year or earlier. So they don't do like that. So if you see the rounds, they consistently do each month. You can also have a track of that rounds because they issue or publish the matrix point system. So that you can actually locate where exactly you are standing when it comes to this competitive 190 and 491, how many invitations has been given, what was the cutoff. So they give a very good overview, whereas the other states, if you see, you don't have a lot of clarity when it comes to where you actually your profile stands with. Apart from that, if you see ACT outcomes, the engineering occupation, because we are more specifically dealing with engineering occupation, it has invited almost all the occupations if you see their list. And the best part is, even if you are an offshore applicant, let's assume you are from an engineering occupation from overseas, you would still be invited. So ACT has consistently invited offshore applicants as well, which is clearly relevant from the matrix systems which they have issued. And moreover, if you see, they have been given a quota of 1,200. They have already utilized 1,091 until 22nd of May. So still 1 month, you still have a chance, 100 more places. So if you have not lost your matrix, go ahead and do it. So how basically it works with ACT is, you're supposed to start with a matrix and an EOI. Then you, when you receive a pre-invitation, you go ahead and lodge your nomination. And if the nomination is approved, you do a visa. This is how the process is at ACT. Okay, so when it comes to 190 and 499, I'll just point out the basic differences for both the subclasses. So when it comes to the ACT resident pathway, the occupation has to be on the critical list. or you need to be a holder of a 457 or a 482 visa, or you can be a majority partner of a business. Okay, so this is one of the criteria you're supposed to meet. Apart from that, the residency requirement when it comes to ACT for 190 is 6 months minimum, and for 491 it's 3 months. When it comes to employment, you can be either employed, or you can be self-employed, or you can be a small business owner. So, but there are definitely differences between 190 and 491. Let's say you are working in ACT. If you complete 13 weeks, then obviously with the 15 hours per week, you would be eligible for a 491. In the same way, let's say you're working for more than 13 weeks, you come across 26 weeks and you have an average working hours of 30 hours per week, so you will be eligible under 190. Okay, when you are coming to self-employment, difference in the salary which you would be earning through your business. So if it's a 491, it's going to be 520 per week for at least 13 weeks, and if it's a 190 you're considering, it has to be 1,000 per week at least for 26 weeks. Then you have the small business owners. You need to operate a small business, eligible business in ACT. So there is a list. Let's say you are going for an Uber one and you want to use that. So I don't think that you would be able to use it because it clearly says eligible businesses and that is excluded from that list. So be very careful while you are choosing the self-employment or investing in a small business in ACT. Okay, followed by that, in case if you have a partner, for example. So this is a state which clearly says that if you have a partner who is onshore, the partner must be residing in Canberra. If the partner is residing in any other state or the duration of residency is less, let's say a partner has stayed for 1 month in WA and then for the rest 2 months in Canberra and they want to go for a 491, they are not eligible. Okay, so be very careful with the secondary applicant requirements as well, because ACT is quite strict when it comes to claiming points and meeting the requirement. And usually they don't give a waiver. So this is the basic difference between 190 and 491. And people who are considering, who are offshore applicants, so do consider ACT and lodge your matrices. So going ahead with next state.
That's great. Just before Safa, that's very interesting that you mentioned for PhD. Also, if someone has to do PhD, what state would you recommend, whether it's a Queensland or ACT?
I would still prefer ACT because of the less duration. However, if a person is staying in ACT, will definitely meet the 12 months of requirement easily. And there is no requirement for employment, no requirement for the English criteria. If you see for 190, they specifically said you need to have a proficient and superior English, and there is an exemption only for chef and ENSCO level 4 to 5 occupation, and for 491 competent English. So they have not kept any such criteria for PhD candidates. So I would definitely prefer ACT, irrespective whether it's Queensland or in Victoria or NSW. I would definitely prefer ACT.
And so, and now with the new updates of 485, which is more than 35, they would not be able to proceed unless they have done research or PhD. Then it's better for those candidates who would like to go for PhD and would like to pursue PhD in Canberra and get their PR sorted, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And even let's say you have time, you can immediately apply for your matrix because the time is there. So you don't even have to go for 485 in cases where you are smart enough to, wisely utilize your time.
Exactly. That's amazing. Let's moving forward ahead. Yep, you have already discussed this.
Yeah, I've already completed this one.
Great. South Australia. So now, Jagjeevan, if you would like to highlight the South Australian requirement and what's there for the requirements for skill nominated visa.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And I'd like to share my screen. Safa, can you close sharing your screen?
Yeah.
So in South Australia, there are mainly 4 ways to register your interest for Plus 190 and 491. First one is South Australian graduates. So international students who have studied in South Australia, they may be eligible for the state nomination as a skilled migrants faster than other candidates. So the second one is working in South Australia. So skilled migrants currently living in South Australia and they're working there as well, and also in their nominated occupation, they may be eligible for the state nomination through the working in South Australia pathway. The third one is highly skilled and talented. Highly skilled migrants who can contribute their demonstrated talent and support innovation in South Australia, such as people working in defense, can register their interest in state nomination under the highly skilled and talented pathway. The last one is offshore skilled migrants currently living offshore who have submitted an expression of interest using the Commonwealth Government skill select system may be selected by South Australia and invited to apply for the state nomination. And when we're talking about the ingenious occupations, such as the main engineer occupation, civil, electrical, mechanical, geotechnical, mining, and software, they are all skill level 1. And they can lodge their registration of interest through any of these 4 pathways. And in South Australia, there is a nomination fee as well of $359, and the occupation should be in the South Australia list. And if you're talking about the engineers and the main engineer occupations, most of them, they are in the South Australia list.
Great. So thanks, Jagjeevan. So moving forward with that, so with engineers as well, South Australia is one of the best state that you can move for. But however, in recent times, South Australia has changed the requirement of 1 year of residency, which many candidates are facing issues with, and they also need 6 months of work experience in their eligible occupation. Now, with that, we have to understand that if you have been residing in South Australia, please do more focus on finding the skill job. That would actually help you to find your pathways to get a permanent residency in future. Now, moving forward with the further state, Tasmania again has lot of requirements with skill employment pathways, skill graduate pathways, established resident pathways, and of course overseas pathways for health sector job offer. Now, with all these pathways, we have to understand that Tasmania has been one of the most prominent state which you can also consider to move for engineers, but they do provide here a priority sector. Now, priority sectors are divided into gold, green, and orange stream. With the highest priority, if you are working in priority sector for at least 3 months with the in the priority occupation, then you can actually get your Tasmanian nomination approved as soon as possible on a priority basis. Now, do engineers fall under priority sector? Yes, they do. Chemical, mining, civil, construction estimator, construction project, all those occupation fall under that. So if you have not targeted or if you have not explored Tasmanian option, that's the best option I would consider. However, let's wait for the new requirements, what they do come with. However, Tasmania has been consistent with their requirement. They do open up the new stream and change their stream requirement, but they have been consistent with the employment requirement. Now, they do, if you have studied from skill graduate pathway, that's an amazing stream to go for if you are falling under that, because if you have completed your qualification from Tasmania, then you do fall under priority sector and be working under that priority occupation. That's the best possible pathway that you can target to go for. However, skill employment pathway is also one of the best pathways. Western Australia, yes, Jagjeevan, if you want to quickly run through this.
Yes, so in Western Australia, there are mainly 3 streams like Schedule 1, Schedule 2, and the graduate stream. So I'll start with the graduate first. So people who have studied in Western Australia, they have lived and studied in Western Australia, they can lodge their expression of interest for 190-491 through this stream. And this one has the least requirement because there is no 1 year experience needed or not full-time employment contract in Western Australia for a minimum of 6 months required in the nominated or closely nominated field. And now I move to the Schedule 1. The main difference in Schedule 1 is mainly health sector workers such as general practitioner, nurses. They come into this stream, and they have to have at least 1 year Australian or 1 year of overseas work experience in the nominated occupation. So for instance, if someone have studied their bachelor's of nursing or they become a doctor overseas, so they must have 1 year of experience in their nominated occupation to be eligible for this stream. And the requirement is pretty similar for the subclass 491 as well. And when we talk about Schedule 2 requirements, so most of the engineering occupation, even though some of them are in priority list in Western Australia, such as civil engineers, or if you're talking about civil engineering draft person, they really in demand in WA. And if someone have studied overseas, for instance, someone done a bachelor's of engineering in civil from overseas, they can do their skill assessment. If they haven't studied through any of the accord, they can do the skill assessment through the CDR pathway and lodge the expression of interest under general stream Schedule 2, because they are eligible for this. Also, the only difference is if someone is working, if someone lodges the expression of interest in this stream, for 190, they must have full-time employment contract in Western Australia for a minimum of 6 months in the nominated or closely related occupation. But for 491, there isn't, this requirement is not there. So for instance, if someone can't have the 6 months job offer, they can simply move towards 491 instead of going for 190.
Great. So also, guys, the prospective engineers who are in our session, so that's, Western Australia is one of the states where they have put down that if you are working in building and construction industry, then you do not need to have an employment contract. That's an amazing to have that. So if you, because Western Australia wants to expand and want to build their infrastructure, so very aggressively, then they are targeting for building and construction industry. And I believe so they will be doing it for further upcoming financial year. Now, also with engineers, they, if you are a prospective engineers with 95 points, then I would definitely recommend that you can move to Western Australia and wait for your invitation there, because Western Australia have provided invitations for civil engineers. Now, Safa, if you want to add any points with Western Australia.
Yeah, there's one more thing in general I would like to add, Smit, in this one is like, see, not a lot of states give the residency leverage. Over here, if you see, Victoria and WA are the only two states which allow the candidates, even let's say you moved a day before, you would be still eligible to apply for the state nominations, right? Like, let's say to lodge your EOIs as well, to do your ROIs as well. Whereas most of the states, they require you to meet the residency requirement. You pick ACT 3 months, 6 months, you pick South Australia requirement, there are requirements. Very few states are there, and one of the state is WA. I really prefer that any person who are in the construction industry must keep an eye on this state, because if they still have shortages ongoing, they might have the same set of requirement for the next financial year, which would be really beneficial for candidates under this sector.
Sure, that's true, and that's very good to have, Safa, I believe so, because with NSW, we have to consider that if once you move out from this state and once you come back, you still have to meet another 6 months of residency requirement. And that's very frustrating for many of our clients, where, they have to stay another 6 months and then be eligible. So that's an amazing thing to have with Western Australia and Victoria. And of course, clients who want to target with engineers, these are the states which are very prominent. And if you are at very good points, then it's advisable to move in these states. However, if you are at 65 or 70 points, these states are very prioritizing this industry, but they are not inviting those who are at low points. So if you have your skill assessment ready, please increase your score in your UI, because without increasing score, it's not possible practically to get invitation in these particular states. All right. So moving on further, we'll be concluding soon. NT is closed, and initially they were only open for 491 only, and of course they are currently closed for the all 190 and 491. Let's wait for the new requirements announced by the NT government. They were pretty unpredictable on the initial previous financial year or this current financial year. Let's hope they bring out something good with this upcoming financial year. All right.
So that's all for today, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.